Good evening from here in Nebraska. Sabah, thank you so much for joining the call. And James Myers, I really appreciate your time and introduction. James, why don't we start and just talk about Joga and your experience with Joga really quick, and then I know Sabah is on a short time frame, and then push it over to Sabah. Sabah, captain of the Iraq local team here in Nebraska. We appreciate both your times.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Nah. it's good to be on.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Joga was initially birthed from the founder of Kefir Fuller. He birthed Joga from the love of sport, and Joga means Brazilian Portuguese. It means just play. So Joga was birthed from basically the Brazilian squad that really showed entertaining football during early 2000s, 2002, with the Ronaldo phenomenon, Ronaldinho, Robinho, all of those players, and it really brought joy to TV screens and football. And from that, we really based it on basically having players enjoy the game and finding their true identity within the game and being able to express themselves on the field. And we've been traveling throughout Europe, taking the players from America to Europe, getting them the experience of the European game, and also showing that, look, there are players that are like you, that look like you as well, but they're expressing their individuality. You could be more than what you actually are told to be on the field. So Joga really and truly is just a vessel and a pathway, creates pathways for players that might be stifled in the States or have lack of opportunities to get more opportunities in Europe.
Awesome. Thank you, James. And it's been a privilege and an honor partnering and collaborating with Joga, especially here in Nebraska with the Omaha International Soccer League. So thank you for being on the show. And then I'm going to pass it on to Sabah. Sabah, thank you for your time again. And you'd like to just do a quick introduction and let me know about your experience being in the Omaha International Soccer League and the recent exposure you had while in Germany with one of your talented players from Iraq.
Yeah, thank you, Marlon. Thank you for having me. My name is Sabah Ibrahim, and I play and coach local Iraqi youngsters and the guys here. We formed the team. We got to experience some great competition here in the Lincoln and Omaha area. First met Marlon at the Cornhusker State Games here in Lincoln, and that's how we got to connect and got eventually invited to join the Omaha International League. That was a great opportunity for us to go to Omaha and connect and express ourselves, meet some new players and some new friends. I think, right now, especially with the World Cup finals, the emotions are high, the spirits are high.
Right.
But it's so passionate about the game, and I think it's amazing to play, and it's just created more opportunities, like Marlon said, in an area where we have limited amount of opportunity for youngsters to get a chance while they're playing. Some young guys that we have real talent that perhaps they don't know which direction to go. We got to do that. We played and we learned a lot of new stuff. And with the organization, Omaha International League, combining with Joga, this was an amazing opportunity for all the guys. We had a few talented guys this past summer that I actually planned to bring over to the tryouts and the camps. And unfortunately, they got another opportunity to go to Germany. And two young guys that are very passionate. I encourage all these guys to follow their dreams. To do something like that, I think in an area, especially here in Nebraska, I think it's amazing, and that's an example for other people that know them within their teams and within their leagues to do the same thing and follow their steps. Because every chance you don't take, it's one you lose. So these two guys, they're right now residing right outside Frankfurt, Germany. I was able to go there with them. Of course, I was there on vacation and had some family there. Got these guys hooked up with a couple local clubs in the city of Kaiserslautern. Germany, it's huge. It's a little different culture than in the U.S. Soccer, it's unlimited opportunities there. And it's possibly to say, in a way, a little easier for them to go to tryouts, to be able to play at the next level. And most of the teams, even, you have 4 professional leagues and a chance for you to go. And it's as easy as just basically showing up. Some of the local teams that have scouts and coaches that will, if they see what they like, they will get you a chance for tryouts. And that's exactly what these guys are doing. These kids are going there with really not a perfect resume, with very little background, just playing local leagues here. And for them to go out there, that's huge. And to get an opportunity, to get a chance to start in the lower leagues, and in a country like Germany, where, they have a system of promotion promotion and relegation.
Exactly.
You can be playing in the lower leagues, and within a couple of years work your way up and play in the professional leagues. And that's exactly what these two guys are doing. These two guys are on my team that so happen to follow their dreams, and I think it sets a great example to connect like that. If you don't have plans as a young player to go through the university system or other systems here in the U.S., then to try overseas. And right now they're training with the 5th Division club, SV Moorlauteren, which is also local in the K-Town area. And yeah, all the support to them. And I think it's, like I said again, it's showing an example for anybody else who wants to dare to dream to follow, and because it's a huge step and a risk. And I think just even the experience itself, it's a lot. And to be able to get that chance, I think it's once in a lifetime. So I really support these kind of guys, and I hope we can give other local talents here in Omaha and Lincoln area to get them connected, whether it's with Joga or, other connections such as this one, like in Germany with my guys. I think that's an amazing opportunity for guys who wants to play at a higher level.
That is tremendous. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think you really hit the nail on the head in terms of the different exposure levels here. And one of the things you said is, these guys have little background. And one thing that I've learned with my time here, especially just learning from James, you're going to talk about your experience here in the U.S. and especially while in Nebraska. The things I learned is just with Europe, they really love raw talent just to be able to mold them. And one of the things I've noticed in my experience here, there's always something about, trying to get a finished product with these players. And in the selection process and tryouts here locally, from what I've seen, they're measured in a lot of areas, but just get the feeling that, the raw talent is not quite as embraced as much compared to Europe. They just want a chance to just mold these young athletes into their system.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, so my experience, the difference is that in Europe, remember, each team each club is its own entity, right? They have a reason to be innovative and try and develop within their own ecosystem so that they can actually reap the benefits, whether it's winning with that player in their first team or even selling that player in their first team or before they get to their first team. There's more incentive to actually develop. Whereas if you're a stateside, at the youth level, even still, they're trying to win on the weekend. So they want to finish a product at the age of 14, which is ridiculous to me, 14, 15, which is ridiculous to me. So that's why raw talents might just get pushed aside because the coach doesn't have enough time to be concentrating on that player. Whereas in Europe, you have such a system where the player can now go into an academy system and the raw player might have something that's different from what they've already got in their academy. Because when I have children, I wouldn't have them in academy from the age of U6, U9, U8, wherever it is, because sometimes they can be robots. Whereas this raw player has the excitement, the spontaneity, the uncoached chaos that is needed in the game. Right now, the game, you see a lot of players being brought from South American countries where the game is spontaneous, but they're being brought to bring into the systems that are very organized and very coached. But those players are the ones who pickpocket the opposition and, find a way. So raw players are needed, all in all, and they can be refined when they come to Europe.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. And with Sabah, just heading back to you, I know you're going to be short on time here. So with the two young guys that are in Germany right now, what are the next steps for them and what do you envision for them? And the lovely thing about that is I believe they're locally born here in Nebraska, right?
Actually, they immigrated here 10 years ago.
Okay.
They are now citizens, and I mean they have been in Nebraska for quite a while. And for me, it's to do something like that, from Nebraska to Germany. That's a huge step and sets an example.
Yes, absolutely. And when we had this conversation, when you were kind enough to share that progress, I just couldn't help on the fact that by 2026, especially with the recent, with some of the success of the Iraq national teams, I mean, automatically by default, they will have a shot to represent the Iraq national team and have a choice to make based on, especially being citizens of the U.S. to have an option to choose. As their game continues to develop.
Yeah, and that's looking to the future. They, of course, always have it in their mind to represent, their nationality or the country. And in this case, like you said, they will have, both as an option. And I think for them right now is mostly creating a profile as a player, to have that resume.
Right.
To be recognized, to get that experience, under professional coaches and trainers, and you absolutely you will improve, in one way or the other, working with with the trainers and coaches over there, with your teammates, with the competition that's out there, and every single young guy and player is chasing the same goals and same dreams. So the competition is definitely high, which will push these guys to do even better. And the way with them going there with the limited background, we kind of have an idea of start in the lower leagues. In Germany, fifth division is already basically considered semi-professional, and the competition's already high there. To be able to join a team like that, and with that team, you can easily be promoted to professional to play in the Regionalliga, which is the regional league, is basically introduction to pro, the fourth league in Germany. And that's right there. You're already on the radar. You'll be playing with guys that already have professional backgrounds, and it just keeps you going. So I think that's the plan for these boys in the near future, to train, to get better, and to be able to create a profile for themselves, and to look in the future. And I think they have nothing to lose.
Absolutely. I love it. And before I release you, Sabah, I know you got to get ready for a game here. I just wanted to talk about your game a little bit. You were one of the most impressive players that I did see at the tournament, and your team Iraq was such an awesome team to watch as well, with how organized you were, and the mix of veterans that you had in your team, together with the younger lads that you guys had. And it's such an honor to have you be a part of the future of the OISL, and I just want to commend you for your leadership, and also, if you get a chance, I don't know if these boys have a social media profile, like locally on Twitter, as they're progressing through the ranks, but we'll love an opportunity to continue to support them and root for them, and buy their jerseys and promote their jerseys.
Absolutely.
as well. So we're going to be continuing to continue to cheer for them, and they'll always be one of us in the YSL, and they'll always have a home here. Anytime they visit, to me, they're heroes. Not a lot of people are willing to take that shot. So thank you so much for their time. So if you get a moment later on, please feel free to share their profile, their Twitter profile, so we can get some followers to continue to root for them.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, my brother Marlon. Thank you to James for his words, and we look forward to communicating with you guys more, and get in touch and connect, and to go forward. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Sabah.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you,
James. All right. Well, that was a great start to the call. I can't imagine a better way to start about the good news of soccer. Maybe that might need to be the name of the podcast. Who knows? But so what did you think about all that?
Oh, it's amazing that we need these pockets of people to get the players that are unseen, disenfranchised, undervalued, get them noticed, get them exposure, get them opportunities, because that's the only way and why the game is called the beautiful game, right?
Right.
People have stories, and it's beautiful when you see them, being fruitful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's what's really spurred me, with the Omaha International Soccer League over this last 8 years, to overcome a lot of the hindrances that I've seen that, in my opinion, I felt was doing a disservice to the game. I've always loved to collaborate with other organizations, youth organizations alike, leaders in the community, just to see the beautiful game in the light that we see it in its true unfiltered state. So this is such a tremendous time and season that we're in right now, especially with a lot of the doors that are being opened, through our relationship with Joga, with you and Kevin, just being the pioneers of expanding the game globally and creating these pipelines. So yeah, it's a great season that we're in. But now let's talk about I want to I want to do two things. So I want to talk about the World Cup. To me, which to me is the best World Cup that I've actually witnessed. And I'm 40, and I've been a historian of the game, and I've seen my share of good games and good World Cups. So I would like to talk a little bit about that, and I'd also like to talk about your experience while you were here in Nebraska.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. So where do we lead? World Cup first.
World Cup first, my man. amazing final. I still have to watch the full final with I had it recorded and I saw some glimpses as I was moving around today. But yeah, man, wow, man, it was such a remarkable World Cup.
I think the tournament as a whole has been entertaining and it probably is the best. I mean, before this one, the '98 World Cup was the best for me, right? But the way it started, the story behind it being in December, it has so many, different stories to it, and so many upsets, so many unpredictable moments. It's got moments, and then the way it's ended with the GOAT,
right,
in the World Cup, and he can. You know what I mean? We can just roll away and just retire from international football,
right,
knowing that he's won everything.
Yes.
That's amazing. He's won everything,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then,
but there's the passing of the torch, right?
Right.
So the young up and coming Prince, who's only 23, has like 18 trophies already to his name, including one World Cup.
Right.
This script is just unthinkable.
Yes, and you put it. There's one word right there: script. I mean, this World Cup couldn't have been scripted any better. I mean, with all the matchups, with starting with the group games and the knockout rounds. I mean, I felt like a lot of these teams were just so equally matched, and there's a lot of history behind a lot of these matchups as well. I was joking around. I was like, this seems like Messi's revenge tour. So defeating both teams that they lost to in the last World Cup in Croatia and France, and I mean, what better way for him to go out, right? And after the first game against Saudi Arabia, I was like, well, this seems like reminiscent of Argentina in 1990. So I wasn't really like shocked or panicked. It just seemed like Saudi wanted it more, and maybe there was a little bit of underestimation there on Argentina's part. But the one thing I've noticed in their team is a lot of the adjustments that was made by Scaloni, the coach, and you never know what the lineup is going to be on every single day, and him having it seemed like I'm not really sure what happened. With Di Maria, if he was injured, but it just seemed like the final, for him to start in the final, was just such a nice chess move on his part, and I was really impressed with some of the coachings and the coaching and the tactics to get Argentina ready, and this is the first time Messi, you can say, he's had a team built around him over the last 2 years.
Right. That's very important, right? No disrespect to all the other players. All of them are the work. They're the workers. Nobody really was trying to be the superstar.
Right.
So it was Messi's time, and it felt like that was the consensus. Everybody knew it was Messi's time in the team. Like, it was like, you know what, we're doing this for Argentina, yes, but this guy holds our name. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like there was this consensus around that. Look, this is going to be our World Cup, but this is also Messi's sing song. You know what I mean?
Right. And then Some of the other conversations centered around the World Cup involving the U.S. national team. I wanted to get your thoughts on that and the future of the U.S. team. I was really impressed with the younger guys on that team. This is the youngest team in the World Cup, and they were able to answer some tough questions as well while being in Qatar, and of course with a lot of the human rights questions. I really thought they held themselves very well in high regard, and they competed. And I was really impressed by the athleticism as well on the team. And I feel like by 2026, I'm not really sure what the next steps are in terms of the leadership, and everybody was focused on the leadership, but I didn't really feel like they got some of the they were celebrated enough to the point that, hey, a lot of good teams like Italy and some of the good teams didn't make the World Cup. I mean, making the World Cup is hard in itself. And of course, I'm Nigerian, and I was rooting for my Ghanaian brothers, but we didn't make the World Cup. And there are teams that didn't make it, and then of course you make it, and you see that there's some good teams that didn't even make it out of the group stages, like Belgium, and but these guys made it to the next round. Of course, and Germany, right? Germany, and these guys made it to the next round and faced a tough Dutch team. To me, I thought between France and Holland, and you can add the U.S. team in there. These were the three most athletic teams in the tournament, and of course the coaching styles are different. But I didn't feel like a lot was mentioned on how the players really overcame some adversity, and of course they had to deal with some tough questions regarding Gio Reyna, and everything just immediately really started pointing to the coach, the USSF Federation, and I guess that's the difference in culture, and you see some of these other teams treated like heroes when they get eliminated, and some of those things. And the one thing I took out of it was, what, I even though I wished the boys were celebrated a little bit more, I can see the ambition, and I love the ambition, and I love the fact that people feel like the U.S. team deserves to be out there in the forefront and take some of those steps to be recognized. So I saw it both ways. And then again, there's things beyond your control when in terms of leadership, and of course, as the coaching and some of those things. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I feel like as time goes by, you're going to get better and better players, right?
Right.
This crop, I saw on Twitter there was this debate whether this crop was the best crop they've ever had, and some debating it wasn't and stuff like that. Regardless, all of them but a few are playing in Europe, and even within that, they're playing at a competitive level, right? So they're gonna bring that character. They showed character. I have to admit, they showed character. You had players that were really trying to showcase that. Look, yeah, I'm American, and you guys have been, talking about how soccer's not our first sport, blah blah. But I'm here to show you. They were there to show you that look, we're here. We're actually playing the sport. Because I'm from the UK, so I listen to what a lot of people are saying in the UK, and they earn the respect for a lot of people in England. You know what I mean?
I bet. That's awesome.
They made the US national team earn a lot of respect worldwide. The game against England, it was not easy for England.
No.
It was not easy for England at all. Like, England came to it thinking, it's the States, isn't it? But they really held them to the sword. So USA showed character. Now, when it comes to leadership and all that stuff, that's always going to be I feel that's always going to be the downfall of the US, 100%. Because there's some sense of entitlement, but then this pride as well. So it's just so much going on in the scenes that is just distracting from the actual players and the playing on the field. And that's unfortunately what happened. Right.
And then what is your opinion in terms of style, with the U.S. national team compared to some of the other teams? I know when I was watching the Holland game, and one of the things about me, I love recording games. I love rewinding, fast forwarding, and just when I get a chance just to kind of sit through and see all these games and see a lot of these movements, compared to watching it, live. I notice, with different styles, the Dutch team had a plan, and that was to attack the wings, right? And a lot of the passing combinations and some of those things. And what was your perspective in between both teams? Because as I was watching the U.S. team, it didn't really feel like they had a specific attack point that they wanted to address.
Well, also I feel so. Remember what you said about Argentina. You'd never know what kind of style they were going to bring out, or what kind of change they were going to make. And I think the US, the problem is they don't have adaptability, right?
Right.
I don't feel they have other direction. They have one tempo, and they can only play at that tempo. Mm-hmm. And if you're in a position that can adjust to that tempo and basically beat that tempo, US are stuck because there's no other way to play, I believe. Whereas if you really look at US as a whole, as a culture, as a community outside of football, it should be playing the way it looks, different, multi-diverse, different cultures. It should be able to play that way. But unfortunately, it's not built that way in the US soccer system. There's only one way, and it's very transitional, very one pace.
Right, and that's a very good point there. And then transitioning from the U.S. team, are there any other teams that you were following in this World Cup that you really loved what you saw, and some of the dark horses out there?
I mean, of course, we have to mention our Moroccan brothers, right? Of course,
yes.
We have to. They played wonderfully. I think I think the only thing with them, it was they just got gassed. They were tired. They couldn't keep up that tempo that they've been playing throughout all the tournament. They had an amazing tournament. They have made history for Africa. Right. And so they were number one of one of the teams I enjoyed really watching. I really enjoyed watching them. At the beginning, obviously, I was supporting Ghana. That's where my family's from, Ghana.
Yes.
Play with them. Oh man, Ghana. What can I say? I was really impressed with my guy Kudus. Yes. He really put his name in bright lights on this world stage, and he showcased that. Look, we have players that can play in the middle of the park that are intelligent and creative and have everything. He is a player that is complete for me, honestly. Yeah. And his price has gone up now. His price has gone up. Definitely. We also, the winger Sulemana, who also brought out creativity and really had heads turned. But I'm excited to see what Ghana do for the future, if they can, get the young players who are born abroad to play for them. Yes. That will be a telling point. And I feel I was saying this the other day, I feel that's what Morocco has done during this World Cup is all the boys that are born in the Netherlands, of Moroccan descent, or in Belgium, I feel like they're actually going to play for Morocco. Looking at how Morocco have really stunned the world. And I hope a lot of other players in other countries feel that way about their home country.
Yes, and as far as my opinion, a lot of all these countries and these programs, you really reap what you sow in terms of the investments that you make towards, your team. So I know Morocco, man, they had a huge investment in facilities right there in Morocco. I read an article in terms of, the facilities. I think I saw the pictures of the world-class facility that was recently invested into them like a couple years back, and seeing how some players went through that pipeline and then got to Europe, and that exposure was made. Exactly. So I feel like the teams that really invest locally in the infrastructure are the ones that really see the ends of it, of the reward. And they did make a change in the head coach. I know there was some falling out with Hakim Ziyech, and But I felt like making that change really made the difference as well. And they were able to creatively have a lineup to put their best players in the field. I thought it was nice to see, guys. Man, you have to remind me. He plays for I think he left Ajax and went to Bayern Munich. He was in the left fullback position, playing right opposite Hakimi, and he's normally a right fullback. And I thought just having that combination, keeping Hakimi right there on the right, and then having him on the left, he was able to really get his best lineups out there on the field.
Yeah. And look, and whenever he made a sub as well, they didn't even skip a beat.
Exactly.
Everybody was on the page. Everybody knew what they were doing. They as a collective, they were dangerous.
Right.
Morocco were dangerous collective, and they were fighting for their nation. They looked like they were fighting for their nation, and they won the hearts of other nations. They won the hearts of everybody, to be honest.
Absolutely, yes. And going back to Ghana, I think Ghana has really made some strides compared to Nigeria, of course, and Nigeria, my home country. And when I saw the qualifying games, even the African Nations Cup, and with the leadership, on the way down, I really didn't expect Nigeria to make it to the World Cup, and I was actually happy for Ghana. I love Nigeria. I always, hope for the best, but everything really starts from leadership. So some of the moves they made, firing the coach, and of course, placing someone on an interim basis, and the lack of investments that are being made in Nigeria towards the game. It just seems like people are just there for selfish reasons. And it's funny, as I see some of these games, and I saw the previous. I know it underwent some recent changes with the leadership. I saw the head of the NFA over there in Nigeria. He was in Qatar. He was in Qatar and enjoying himself, having a good old time, and they just kept the spotlight on him, and it looks like he's making moves right there, taking a position with FIFA. So it just looks like just some selfish things going on there in Nigeria, and then I feel like some of these players, their primes are going to be wasted, if they don't really have the good leadership. But again, going back to Morocco, I'm really proud of them. They did Africa proud. Before then, especially casual sports fans that might be listening, Africa has never made it. No African team has ever made it past the quarterfinal stages. So, this is really a remarkable achievement. For Africa as a whole, and the Arab community as well.
Exactly, it's making.
Right. So now just kind of piggyback off of that, what do you think about the next World Cup 2026? And then once you give me your thoughts, we can talk about your time in Nebraska. Who do you got?
I think it's France, man. I think it's France because if you really think about it, most of this squad should be in that squad 2026 because. And they're gonna want revenge. Mbappe, you see his face, and you already know his character. He's just hungry.
Right.
He's hungry. He's coming for. He wanted to come for Pele's record and try and get 3 World Cups by the age of 23.
Yes.
So he is already hungry,
yes.
And there's going to be a team built around him with all these young guys who are actually. This World Cup showed that the young players are really stepping up now.
Yes.
Because even when we say Germany fell out, where their best player was Jamal Musiala, 19-year-old.
Absolutely, very impressive.
I think England's best player, one of England's best players was Jude Bellingham.
Absolutely,
19-year-old.
I agree.
The young players are really stepping up and just like showing the world. Spain's Gavi was good as well. Like. The young players are really just stepping up and saying, look, this is our time. This is our... So, yeah, I got France for the next World Cup.
Nice.
You?
Well, for me, I did not pick Brazil for this World Cup, even though I felt like this squad was mature. compared to the previous Brazilian squads. I felt that they wouldn't be able to overcome the grit and passion and just the fight of Argentina. And for the next World Cup, my pick is Brazil. I could see a Brazil and France final. I do agree with your assessment that, France is, they have a pretty young squad, and Mbappe is just a beast. And he's hungry. He wants it. And of course, and I felt that, without Pogba, getting any spotlight or being in this World Cup will really enhance his drive to really show that, he is the best player on the France team. So no more conversations about Paul Pogba in terms of France. Paul is a brilliant player. But I felt that this was going to be Mbappe's time to really show that he's the forefront and he's the man. My pick, the reason I picked Brazil, it all hinges on if Neymar comes back. I hope he does. Next World Cup, he's going to be 34. Casemiro is going to be 34 as well. And they still have some younger guys like Vinicius and I love Marquinhos. I hope I pronounced it right. Marquinhos. I really love him, and he's still very young. I feel that they'll be a lot more mature, and maybe they'll have a little bit of edge to them by the next World Cup. That's the only thing missing on this Brazil squad. I love the personality. I had a problem with a lot of people, like the Roy Keanes of the world, who I highly respect as a Man United fan, and some of the other pundits that were bashing them because of how they love to dance. You can't really take culture out of these guys. But if you notice, the Brazilian teams that have won each World Cup, they've had a little bit of both in terms of the edge, in terms of the fight. And a lot of them haven't been attractive teams. When you think about the 1994 Brazilian team, they look pretty boring. They played defensively. They had that edge to them. I think that will have to be the next step, for Brazil in the next World Cup. And I feel they're going to want to win one for Neymar, similar to how they want to win one for Messi. And then, of course, Casemiro is I think Casemiro could play for the next 5 years and just be dominant still, So and I'm curious to see who the next coach is going to be. That's going to hinge on that. I'm hearing some names right now. They're talking to us potential coaches like Carlo Ancelotti. That'll be interesting, but they might be looking for someone with a European background that's going to be able to merge with the Latin flavor, to bring the best out of them. Because Europe, right before Argentina won this World Cup, the last World Cup winners have been European teams. So so it wouldn't surprise me there. So I'm going to pick with Brazil, and we'll see how it goes. So.
I think with Brazil, I think it'll be down to the coach, and it'll be down to see if Neymar does say, because before the World Cup, I think he did say that this will be his last World Cup, right. But I don't see him leaving it on the table like that. Right. Danny Alves came out and said, no, this ain't his last World Cup. But the next coach will. If the next coach is European, it has to be a coach that allows expression, individuality, because it can't be a coach that restricts them too much and is too tactically orientated, too stiff with its formation and everything. Because Brazil are not that type of people. They're not that. They need enjoyment. They need entertainment. They need to be able to be fluid within their movement. So hopefully they get a coach that understands this.
Do you think Ancelotti is that guy? I think so. What do you think?
Yeah. Because if you look at what he did with Real Madrid, he allowed players to play. He listened to players. There's some videos or some pictures of him on the sideline asking Marcelo or Toni Kroos about a few things, and he's taken it on board and he's actually applied it. So he's a very good manager, I feel, Ancelotti, yes.
Awesome. Sounds good.
I actually heard Brazil asked Pep Guardiola, but he had rejected it only due to that he's got a project with Man City. I think he just signed an extension, and he's really trying to see it through.
Okay, well, as far as a coach that really allows players to express themselves, I'm not quite sure Pep fits that mold, even though they could be a winner. so it will be quite interesting, you know. But yeah, he has coached some talented teams, and I know the argument has always been how restrictive he can be. But we'll see. People do adapt, people do change. Who knows? So, and then now
I don't see. Go.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see that marriage really working out. Guardiola and Brazil.
Yeah, sounds good. So now getting onto your time in Nebraska, which is what I'm sure everybody will love to hear. I mean, I took a lot of notes while you were here. I can't say I did the best job of sharing a lot of things while you were here. I mean, I'm still speechless, but I was just waiting for this opportunity. You know, this podcast that we've been pushing back quite a while now with the timing for you to talk about it. And then, of course, you know, we're just going to hear right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. Honestly, look, I was pleasantly surprised when I came to Omaha. Before I came, honestly, Omaha, Nebraska was never a place that I was going to visit. I never thought about visiting. I told people I was going to Omaha. They're like, huh? What? Like, what's there? And I was like, I'm going there for football. And they're like, for football? All right, cool. So, no, but coming there and seeing, you know, the diverse cultures and the different communities for those cultures was amazing. You creating a league that has different players from different countries representing their countries in that league. That is amazing. To me, that is next level. That alone has covered so many things, issues in the sport within the States, right?
Right.
And seeing it firsthand at a showcase. So doing the showcase was amazing, getting players from all those different, and I saw some good raw talent that, you know, we want to take to the next level.
That's awesome. And you know, one of the things while you were here that I'll never forget, and even when I tell people now, I still get that, really? And one of the things you said was the talent level in the U.S. being comparable to that of Brazil because of the diverse pool, and of course there's differences in style of play, you know, but of course the infrastructure in the US actually surpasses even some of the best ones in Europe, you know, based on what you saw. So could you elaborate just a little bit with that comment that you made, and why there's so much of an attraction to look for talent here in the US, and then of course focusing on the Midwest aspect of things?
So when you talk to a European coach or somebody over here, they know about how diverse and multicultural the United States is. You can get every culture in the United States. Therefore, you can get any type of player, every style of player. In theory, you're supposed to get every style of player, every philosophy of coaching, whatever they fit into. You're supposed to get that individual player in the States because of how diverse it is. And then money, the money spent on the States alone is incredible. It's incredible. Like the public parks are fine. They're better than parks in England. And your schools, your high schools have better facilities than local clubs in England. The only facilities that match up with the high school's facilities are the academies, which obviously big money has to be spent into to develop players. So the resources are there. Now it's how the players access them. That's what I see as the issue in the States, is accessing those facilities, those equipment, that opportunity is what's holding them back.
Yes, that's awesome. Absolutely agree. And one of the things that, you know, you did have a chance to visit a couple of schools and some college campuses and you know, get a feel research level, and we were invited over to the Union Omaha facilities as well. We got a chance to tour the locker room, and want to give a big shout out to Pete Marlett, general manager of Union Omaha, who's actually doing a lot of remarkable things under his leadership, and trying to also create a inclusive level for Union Omaha, being the only professional team here. And I also want to recognize there's some semi-professional teams here, but Union Omaha is actually with the third tier, which is actually the highest level here in Nebraska. So big shout out to Pete. Thank you again for the time we had to spend with you. And of course, we also had a chance to go watch the game as well. We enjoyed ourselves there. And he actually did come out to the showcase as well. So that was a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was really impressive that he was able to come out to the showcase and, sit down, stay there. He actually stayed the whole time and spoke to players.
Right.
Identified three players that were, he felt that were interesting. So it was great for the union to actually be able to come out and, open their doors.
Right, absolutely. And I'm curious to see the next steps regarding the leadership of Union Omaha after learning the news about the head coach, no longer being a part of Union Omaha due to the parting of ways, which seemed mutual. I'm not too quite sure the full story on that, but the one thing that I do feel with under Pete's leadership, it looks like he has an idea of the next level of where Union might want to go to. I'm not to speak on anything, just in terms of my observation. It seems like he's somebody that will get everything where it needs to go. He's very smart, very well calculated, and this really caught a lot of people by surprise. Caught me by surprise. I mean, they were in the finals, they won a championship the previous year, and they've always been competitive, but his leadership, looks like they're going to get things back on track.
Yeah, and hopefully they still tap into the community for talent, and
Absolutely.
Hopefully that they really look within their areas and the areas of the communities that are diverse to tap into talent and that raw talent that's there, because there's definitely raw talent there. I saw it at first glance at the showcase. So yeah, hopefully they stick to that philosophy of really using the people of the community.
Absolutely. So yeah, appreciate your time. And so before I let you go, what are you and Kevin working on right now? I did, I follow you guys and I see you guys are always cooking. You guys are always cooking something. So what are you guys working on right now at the moment?
Yeah. Well, we're fortunate enough to, build a big network of clubs and people that are really trying to grow the game and offer pathways. We've got a lot of things happening in South America, more specifically Cartagena, Colombia. We've got showcases and residencies there coming up within the next month or so. We've got one coming up in February, late January, early February. And it also leads to Brazil as well. So we're going to have clubs like Botafogo playing against them, and then we're going to take some players to Colombia, keep them there for a residency, training and playing games there as well, and then bring them over to Europe, more specifically Germany, the Netherlands, and Portugal. We've got interesting training opportunities in Portugal as well.
Nice. That's awesome. And you all recently also were looking into getting a club for your residency as well, like owning a club, and which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that's a bit. Yeah. So that's in the talks. We're hopefully getting a club that we can, if you own the club or have the club, you have the direct pathway for players to come through, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's the angle we're looking at.
Right. And I know we've been talking about coming back again to Nebraska for a showcase next year. So we're looking forward to that. I know just because of our capacity, we wanted to focus strictly on the showcase. I know, it was kind of sad we didn't have the tournament this year just because we wanted to focus on the showcase. But we'll be looking to have the tournament as well as the showcase next year, which would be a tremendous opportunity, just to continue to, keep everything moving. And of course, with the exposure from this last showcase, I can imagine that we should be able to double up on the players that would love to take part of it and continue to collaborate as well locally here with Union Omaha and any other interest levels to come and identify this players. And I've always believed, it always has to be the best interest of the players no matter what. There's a level of territorialism that really plagues the game of soccer, and I feel it takes away from what's in the best interest of the players. So I'm just blessed to be in this position to continue this journey, and of course collaborate with you and Kevin, with Joga and the partnership that comes from it, to be able to have players get the exposure that they deserve, and of course feel committed to continue to work on their game on a daily basis, just knowing that there's going to be an opportunity lying for them somewhere, be it here locally or overseas.
Yeah, and it's been great networking with you and being able to be connected to what you're doing and everything, because what you're doing, like I said before, what you're doing is amazing for the whole of Omaha and the communities that are underserved and undervalued. And like I said before, there's lots of talent in Omaha. So we are going to be there next year, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to the opportunities that we can continue to grow there, where it be domestically, having clubs coming over and things like that.
Sounds good. Well, this has been great. I mean, for the first time creating this on the first time, I really am excited for the future. I'm humbled and honored to continue to work with you, Kevin, and continue to expand the beautiful game like it was meant to be. So I really thank you so much for your time. Shout out to Sabah again, Captain Sabah again. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show. And then we're going to continue to evolve this show. We're going to continue to get better. We'll have more guests. We'll continue to talk the game. So thank you so much, James. I really appreciate your time. And I know it's probably 9 o'clock out there in Berlin. And so it means a lot that you're able to just kind of stay up a little bit more. Thank you so much.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you for your time to listen in on the show. I hope it was a great learning experience like it has been for me. Well, we're going to continue to get better. We'll need to have guests. One of the things that, I've been over the last 8 years running the Omaha International Soccer League. I've come across remarkable people that deserve an opportunity to get their voices heard. A lot of times people do things silently or do things behind the scenes that are actually growing the game, and not a lot of people know about them. And that's why I was excited to venture into this podcast, to continue to highlight the beautiful game of soccer and the positive that comes out of it, and how it's promoting the youth. And of course, there's a lot of leagues out there, and a lot of people that have been sacrificing a lot to because of what they believe in. And I've worked with some great organizations that do a lot of wonderful things. I met some remarkable leaders, not just in the world of soccer, but leaders in their community who actually share and see what we're doing in terms of the passion, that have thrown in their support and opened up some doors. Even some leaders that have no background in soccer that I've been able to work with over the years, and just kind of share their minds and just see what the vision is. And it's a very humbling experience. I feel like a lizard that just sometimes happens to crawl into a castle by mistake, and I don't believe I deserve to be in that position, but I'm just really humbled, and we'll continue to promote the game. We'll continue to talk the game, and continue to work behind the scenes as well, on the background within the community. So again, thanks for listening in on the show. We'll continue to get better, and look forward to the next podcast sometime in January with enough notice. So thank you again for your time, and shout out to Union Omaha, shout out to Joga, some of the organizations that we've had a chance to work with recently here, and the Iraq team and Sabah, and congratulations to both players that were able to take a shot and go to Germany and get a spot. Appreciate your time, and have a great day. Thank you.